I quote the great philosopher, one James Harrison, who tweeted out this morning, "This is what winter should feel like. I hope it stays for a while like this so I can go ice fishing." That's the spirit. It's just a little bit cold. It's 9 degrees out there. It's not the end of the world. The end of the world comes at the end of the week for those of us covering the Penguins up in Winnipeg and Ottawa, where it's going to be, I think today, I believe it was minus 17 with a low of minus 21. Minus 21 you can't really even appreciate until you're out in it. And you maybe spill a drink or something like that and you watch it hits the ground as ice crystals. That's when it's cold. It's hockey season. Who's complaining about the cold? This is fun. Tomorrow night, the Penguins and the Toronto Maple Leafs will be at Consol for the Penguins home opener. They've had a wonderful 2-0 start through Philadelphia and New York. I followed them up there. We wrote a ton about it in the Trib. You know all the facts, the figures, the plays. You watched the games. You watched the games actually in incredible numbers, which is starting to become common around here. What I'm going to share with you today is some stuff from behind the scenes, some feelings and vibes that you were able to get from being around the team, in the locker room, at the skates. This is a team right now that's got a little bit of an attitude. They're a little bit snarly right now. I think that's a good thing. I think this is a team that feels that it's been wronged in some way, whether by the hockey gods, fate, injuries, concussions, whatever it is, that they should have been winning Stanley Cup championships all this time since 2009. They feel like what they did in the playoffs last spring was a legitimate embarrassment. When you talk to these guys now, it's just a little bit different than last year. I'll give you an example. Let's say a guy like Tyler Kennedy. Here is a guy who, when you ask him, if you ask him 10 questions, his answer to 9 of them will be just, for sure. It's what he says. There's an edge to him right now. The way he's talking right now, there's a little bit of a, yeah, of course we had a good game. You know, we've got some pretty good players on this team. We've got guys who can hit. We got guys who are aggressive. That's our game. That's what we're going to do. That was basically his response when I asked him about the checking line that he's on right now with Brandon Sutter and Matt Cook, who all three of whom are playing very well together. James Neal is another one. James Neal is a guy who just came off of a 40-goal season, breakout year, signed the contract of his life. He's going to make $5 million a year for a long time now. He's set. You'd think there'd be some small part of him that would just want to, sit back and enjoy it. Has an attitude. Has a real attitude about him. I'm not being nasty here. I'm saying this in a good way. James Neal was the one, as I wrote in my column from Philadelphia, who orchestrated the 3 stars thing, where he was the one that he and Marc-Andre Fleury skated out in the visiting arena, which you never see happen, for 3 stars. And he enjoyed it. He liked it. So did Fleury. They both had these evil-looking smiles on their faces after the game. They're having fun, but they're having it in a bit of an angry way. And I think that's healthy for this team. The talent's there. But being a little bit angry, a little bit ticked off, I think that's going to work to their advantage. You want another example? How about Chris Letang? Chris Letang is a guy who should have by now, let's not mince words here, should have won a Norris Trophy by now. With all that talent that he has, the opportunity that he has, the teammates that he's surrounded by, the chances that he can create for himself in that environment, should have won a Norris Trophy by now. Have you seen him just on the ice? Never mind off. He's all over the rink. He's going after people, sometimes in a not terribly legal way, once they're in the Penguins zone. That's the Chris Letang the Penguins need. They need him for 28 minutes a game. How about Paul Martin? There's another one. Paul Martin is a guy who realistically, and I'm on this list as well, of people who left him for dead. His career looked like it was over. The best thing, the smartest thing the Penguins could possibly have done would have been to buy him out. They stuck by him. Dan Bylsma looked us right in the eye last week, said that he's going to be part of a shutdown pairing with Brooks Orpik. We all kind of giggled on the inside. Yeah, Paul Martin's going to shut down. Nothing. He's been very good. Why? If you read or heard what he said from out in Philadelphia, it's just more of an aggressive mindset. He's not skating back. He's not sitting back. He's taking the chance. He's taking advantage of his skating ability. And you know who's my favorite out of this group right now in this regard? Is Brooks Orpik. If Brooks Orpik's grandmother was skating down the right side right now, and the Penguins were up 8-0, and everyone had left the building, and Brooks Orpik's grandmother had her head down, he'd level her right now. He'd crush her. He'd send her to the hospital. That's the way he's playing. That's not an accident. My understanding is that after last season, Brooks Orpik, Ray Shero, the coaching staff had a good talk. They discussed how they want to see him play. And they basically condensed it all down to one thing. Start knocking people around again, because that's who Brooks Orpik is. So the Penguins have that scrimmage last Wednesday at Consol. And Warren Peters, rest his soul, comes skating up the right side. And Brooks Orpik just destroys him. This is a teammate. This is another guy wearing a Penguins logo on his jersey. Destroys him. I saw Warren Peters in the locker room after the game, still shaking his head, still with cobwebs. Hope he's fine. I'm not making light of it. Now here we go into New York on Sunday night. Brooks Orpik sees Chris Kreider coming up the ice. This is a rookie, a really, really promising rookie for New York, who did a really, really dumb thing in coming through the neutral zone with his head looking down at the puck. Sorry, dude, you can get away with that in college. Not in the NHL, not with Brooks Orpik on the ice, no matter how much the game is out of hand. Orpik crushed him. Completely clean. Led with the right shoulder right into Kreider's chest. Kreider went back. And if you looked over at the Rangers bench, which I did there from the Garden, you saw not one of their guys got up to howl about it, to complain, to smack their stick on the board. You know why? They knew it was clean, and they knew the kid had it coming. It was his welcome to the NHL moment. Chris Kreider went to Boston College. Brooks Orpik went to Boston College. So he's picking off teammates. He's picking off fellow alum. Who knows who he'll get from the Maple Leafs tomorrow? If Phil Kessel's coming full bore, Phil Kessel was a Team USA teammate of Brooks Orpik's in the past Olympics. He'll take him out. Let Brooks Orpik be the barometer for this team's attitude right now, because that's it. They're angry. I don't know what they're saying behind closed doors. Only they do, only the coaching staff does. But I can tell you that whatever it is that they're discussing, whatever it is that they're doing to push each other, it's being done in a nasty way, with a snarl. And I like that. This team has plenty enough skill to get by, to say the least. They've got enough goaltending. They might even have a decent enough defense up to the point where Ray Shero can add to it at the deadline. But that snarl, that attitude, that's going to be the thing that gets this team, unlike the past three, deep into the playoffs.